But that'd be a good idea. That's a good idea. We got to put together a mumbo jumbo playlist. We going? Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Mumbo Jumbo Community Conversations. My name is Chinyelu, and I will actually not be our conversation facilitator today, but I will be standing in for the facilitator until she can get here at about 6:30. So hope that's okay with everybody today. Today we have a Today we've got a very special conversation going on. If you're tuned in with our, event schedule and all that, you'll know that we had originally planned to have Miss Deidre Fair James, our guest tonight. Unfortunately, she was unable to make it. So instead, we decided to, use this as an opportunity to hold a special session to uplift and celebrate and recognize the work and contributions of all the women in the Kepler space. So we're joined here now by Mrs. Paulette Fair. We'll have a few more guests join us as the conversation goes on. But for now, we will go ahead and get started with our check-in ritual. So, does any Nas first of all, would you mind turning the lights on in here? Yeah, so and for those of us who are unfamiliar or who haven't been to a Kepler meeting before, the check-in is just it's it's a ritual that we do here in the Kepler space. Make sure that we are, you know, uh thank you very much. But the check-in ritual is something that we do here in the Kepler space to make sure that we're maintaining, a relational focus, that we're putting each other's needs and just like where everybody's at first, and just that we're taking those considerations that we have to take, to be there for each other as a community. So typically, what that looks like is everybody will go around. They'll share their number and color, and then both of which are supposed to kind of represent like how you're feeling today, and then we'll have like an icebreaker question as well. So let's do for the check-in today. Let's do like I said, number and color, and then let's do. Anybody have a suggestion for a check-in question today? Maybe let's do. Let's stick with the theme for today. Maybe let's just have everybody share a powerful woman or a powerful female figure in their lives. Yeah, I'll go ahead and kick it off. Set the example. What's up, everybody? I'm feeling like a traffic light green. Feeling like okay, I've been saying traffic light green 25 today because it's my 25th birthday today. So I'm feeling pretty good. And there are truly so many names I could give, some of whom are here at this table. But I think for tonight, I'll just shout out, not to, maybe a little unoriginal, but I'll shout out my mom. My mom is a very creative person, very driven and passionate about learning and creating things and just like the various like projects that she takes on. She's always trying to, you know, do something new or learn something new or make something new. And I think a lot of those are traits that I definitely inherited from her and, hold very close to, my idea of who I am. So for now, I'll pass it over to you, Miss Deidre.
Hi, good evening, everybody, and happy birthday, Chinyelu. I'm gonna say I'm a seven, sage green. I've fallen in love with green, and so I'm a sage green seven. And I want to shout out two people. First one is my mom, Barbara Coleman, left the planet on my birthday, November 14th, 2024. And the next one is Ruth Carter, who is a fashion designer, artist that was the costume designer for Black Panther. And she'll be in town, Indianapolis, this month. So, yeah, Ruth Carter. I am. Black Panther all the way, Wakanda all the way.
I'm Paulette Fair, and I'm a yellow 10. For others, it gets boring hearing me say that, but for me, it just is a reminder of the gratitude and appreciation that I have for that yellow sun. That yellow sun is always there, and it's a guidepost for me to always be there for others, for myself. So that yellow, whether it's cloudy, snowy, freezing cold, whatever, it's up there, waiting for me to appreciate the fact that it'll be back the next day. And I'm a 10, and I stay a 10 because the gratefulness at 82 years old, not to be hurting anywhere. Oh, I'm grateful. So I'm a yellow 10. And the woman in my life, of course, my mother, wonderful, wonderful person, but it was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law. I mean, how many great things do people have to say about one's mother-in-law through the years? I met that woman and she had four boys, and I married the oldest one. And I became her daughter, not because I deserved it, not because I was amenable, not because I seemed to have blended into the family, because that don't happen the first day. She always was there for me. So I tell people that I grew up as a youngster in San Antonio, and when I was 21, I went north to go to Wayne State University. And from the day I started living with her, she just was always on my side. So for me, seeing how she just conducted her life, and I think of her as a womanist, not a feminist. For me, feminists are women who need for other people to do things so that they can be whole. Feminists demand that they get equity and that they have job promotions and that who they are and that they're seen all good. I'm a woman that's like she was because it didn't matter what other people thought. She was out there doing what she was going to do. And so my father in law, he had not been trained, but he knew a powerful woman when he saw one. And so they were a super couple. And so for me, I'll just always remember her as one of the real powerhouses in my life. Thank you. Pastor Collett.
Um, Five, purple, and probably my mom, just because, she gave me life and is the reason why I'm here and has showed me ways to be how I want to be. I'll pass it to Essence.
Hi, everyone. Can someone reiterate the question for me, please?
Yeah, it's just a woman or a female figure in your life that you'd like to pay some gratitude to.
Okay. I am a six, color is mocha, and someone I would like to give some flowers to. I think would be one of my mentors, Lilar Burton. She has been great over the past year. And I will pass it to Vicky.
Are you with us, Vicky? Yeah, Essence said or Renee. So
Hi, everyone. I'm Renee. I would say my color is orange and my number is 8. And I have plenty of influential women in my life, but I'm going to choose my best friend, Emily. I love her so much. We've been through a lot together. I've known her since high school, and we're out of college now. So it's been a chunk of life that we've known each other. We both have been there for each other for some pretty hard times and for some great times. Anytime that I need help or advice or just someone to bring me up or to tell me like it is, or really anything, I can go to her and I know that I will get the right answer that I need from her to help me in my life. And so, yeah, she's my person. And I'll pass it to, I don't know if Clara went yet, but I'll pass it to you.
you with us, Clara? All right, no worries. Let's maybe pass it to LaShonda instead for now.
Hello, everyone. Let's see. I'm feeling like a gray 9. Even though I'm tired, I feel good. Um, the woman I look up to, I always say, my grandmother, Mumby. She raised me. She raised us. She raised her son's kids. She raised all of us. But she didn't only raise us, she taught us to understand that everyone is human. No one is perfect on this earth. And if you trust in God, you'll be all right. And I will pass it to Zanti. Zonte. I saw you unmute. Oh,
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to change my name. I don't understand why it keeps doing that. I'm Cass, y'all.
oh,
Um, yeah, it's like it would not change my name on Zoom, and I do not know why. But it's me. Let's see. I actually came in late, so I don't know the question.
Yeah, just a woman or female figure in your life that you'd like to pay some respect, pay some gratitude, pay some love to.
Oh, okay. So yeah, excuse the background. My kids watching something. Um, I'm gonna say I'm about like a grade 4 or 5. Um, I'm not really feeling great today, but I'm here. Um, and a woman that we look up to, I would say Shonda Rhimes. Her work ethic and her creativity are just phenomenal, and I wish that I can do half of what she's done in her lifetime. So, yeah. I think that's it. I guess I'll pass it to. I don't know if that's something yet.
We haven't heard from Alvin and we haven't heard from Nasya and M as well. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll pass it to Alvin.
I just wanted to say really quickly before anyone else, it's nausea.
Naja. Okay, thank you.
My turn?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Hey everybody, Alvin here. I am feeling like a sunshine 9. I'm getting roasted. I'll change it from sunshine to roasted tomato on the porch. And of course, shout out to my mom, Betty Lynch, who is about doing what is right all the time. And I'll pass to anyone else who would like to go.
How about him?
Is him with you?
Now he stepped away
Okay,
for a phone
sounds
call.
good. Well, let us know when he gets back, and we'll have him check in as well. Naja, I think that makes you our last person. You with us, Naja? All right, no worries. Stepped away. She may still be okay. Yeah, all good. Well, Essence, if you it sounds like y'all know each other, so if you hear anything from her, let her know whenever she gets back that we'd love to have her check in. But for now, I think we can go ahead and get started with the conversation today. So, as I said earlier, we decided to take an opportunity today to uplift. Oh yeah, exactly. As Mrs. Fair just said, it's Women's Month, and so all month we're trying to uplift the women of our community, and all the work that they do to support us. And so today we decided to take an opportunity to uplift the women, specifically of the Kepler Institute, and to give them an opportunity to tell the stories of how they came to be a part of this community, what the work that they do here is, and what their vision is for Kepper's future. So, yeah, I guess like in that lane, I would say let's pass it over to. I think Mrs. Fair would be a good person to start. Possibly the person or one of the people who's been here the longest. So. I'll pass it to you, Miss Fair. Tell us who you are and how you came to be a part of the Kepper community.
Oh, okay. Chin is right. I was part of the Kepler community. Uh, no, it was, yeah, it was before you were born.
Yeah.
Because I was at your parents' wedding.
Yeah.
Man, how does time fly? There's this little piece that is on the inside of our public library. So as you are leaving, if you look up, this is etched in the wall. It's a brick. Well, it's a slab of sandstone, and it's at 82 years old. I've always loved it, but at 82 years old, it just hits me so much and so often. And it's time by minutes slips away.
Yep.
First the hour, and then the day. Small, the daily loss appears. Soon, it amounts to years. And just thinking about that as the years have gone by, I happened to move here to Indianapolis when I was about 35 years old, and it was 1979. And it was for a job. But as Kepra has always been about community, our mission statement is youth development towards self-mastery. But the self-mastery was always about more than just you. The self-mastery,
You want to narrate?
the self-mastery was always about their living in community. So when we first started Kepra as one of the female leads, Em and his wife and I started our Kepra Institute adventure. It's been an adventure. We started it, and she was working full time. That's how they paid the house notes and the gas and the food. And I was on pension. And so we could start what we felt was needed in the community through what our children needed. And I think sometimes as a woman, um, I've seen this commercial, and it's women go out and make the money to buy the bread and come home and fix the bread and make it into the meals that they feed their families. Now, men work, teenagers work, but it's something about being a woman. And I was born in 43. And so I've come up through that era where the culture encouraged women to be all that they could be. Now, of course, there were some females that missed that. But in many of our communities, there were women holding it down. So when Women's Month finally became a real thing, I I was um, I was trying not to be amazed that the country had come around to what we women always knew. The- the- it's about being everything about everything. Well, of course, trying to be perfect will ruin your presence as you trying to be perfect for your future. So while the present is important, as a woman who who has children, who has a job, who has a partner, a lovely, lovely husband, whatever all those things you put into your life, it does not diminish your womanness. And so for women, you can see I have a wonderful father. I love me some men. Wonderful father. My husband was the bomb. I mean, we just were two peas in a pod. I have a wonderful son. I have a nephew son. I have a grandson. All those people are important, but they are important, I feel, because what I've been able to put into them. And I can say that because I can look at what Kepra started to do back in 2000 and it was 2002. Um, we we were looking at what will we become. We we were working in an old warehouse, and we were working for money. But then you can't work 24/7. So what is your give back to the give back that you got? What was your give back? So we decided we would be consultants to other nonprofits. We had a whole range of things on the table. That was 2002. In 2003, my fabulous sister made her transition, and I had a grandson, 13 years old. I couldn't bear the thought of telling his mother and father, "Oh, don't send him this summer. Don't send him because my sister is passed and I won't have anybody to take care of him and get him back and forth to camps and things because I'm working." I couldn't even think of him. He's my one and only. And him and his wife had a 14-year-old. And back in 2003, you couldn't let your Black youngsters, the males especially, just run out there and play up and down the street like we used to do in the 40s and 50s. It was something about the police. Those kids just got jacked up, turned around, verbally abused. And so you couldn't go to work and leave them at home. So we said, well, we'll bring them into the warehouse. And what can we do? So you see, necessity is the mother of invention. And while men, of course, all of us do with that thought in mind. But for mothers and grandmothers, there's a part of the heart that just won't let you not support their emotional growth as well as their physical growth. So with Kepra, since 2003, we've been dedicated to youth development towards self-mastery. What good is there to be perfect in this world, self-mastered? You just the bomb. If all of it is just about you. So we always use the lattice work, like a great lattice work or trellis. We always use the lattice work of the social enterprise to help them reach out to the public. Not only to have a business where you out hustling and selling, but a social enterprise. Whereas if you don't have business, you got to go out to the community and find out why not. You have to relate to the community. If your ice cream parlor is only open between 10 at night and 2 in the morning, because that's your convenient time, the public will let you know by not coming that that's not a good time for them. And so to help them understand that their self-mastery was about a place for them in the community and other people. And so since 2003, me, of course, Pambana quit her job and came to work full-time with Kepra. There'll be other women of Kepra that are here that have uplifted, kept Kepra going, did special programs. I remember when Deidre, who's a fashion designer, did a fashion show for a whole fashion segment for one of our summer camps. And to help the children, we were right over on 28th and Capitol. We all know that neighborhood. So rather than have these kids going through books with Gucci items and some of those other brand name items, we went to Goodwill and talked to the manager who says, have those kids pick out anything they want. And whatever you don't return, because the kids want to keep it, that's all you have to pay for. And we did a fashion show. Those kids love that fashion show. The parents love that fashion. Those are the kinds of things to put into youngsters to help them understand also that your life is about you and the people around you. And so for Kepra, the women of Kepra, it's just been a long and wonderful time. This whole, what is that, about 23 years now, that I've had an opportunity to work for others who then worked for the place where I live. So when one puts into others in their community, they are better off for it because then the community is stronger. So I think that with this being the month of the women, we're able to focus in on where we are, appreciation and gratitude for where we've come from to get here. And sometimes it's hard to understand why other people, including the women in your life, your mama, your wife, your good girlfriend, they do whatever it is that they've done that you felt like was not what should have been done. We call it conflict transformation here at Kepra. And I want to mention that because conflict transformation is not conflict resolution. Oh, that's really wonderful. If you get to, yeah, I believe you. I changed my mind. That's great. But transformation is about you are who you are. You made the decision you made. I am who I am. I made my own decision. But you talk about it in the transformation is the perspective of how they went off and did what they did at the time. Or how I know for my mom and I, who hasn't had some issues with something that their mom did that long ago? How you gonna get way down the road in your life if you walking turned around backwards, staring at your path about what didn't happen from your mama? The transformation is in the perspective building. And I think here in Kepra, all of us have come to that. We've always been in conversation, understanding, all the words you can use, but conflict brings about a closeness to the other person in the relationship you build. Now, there are times when other people, nah. Mm-mm. But when they're ready, they're ready. So I'll end with this time that I am speaking, I'll end with being a woman. And I always felt that I was a womanist, never a feminist. Back in 1970, like maybe one or 72, the women's movement got started. No. Yeah, because Deidre was born. And so I'd leave my 18-month-old with a sitter. My girlfriend down the street would leave her son, who is just 6 months younger than mine, with a sitter. And we would go for this new movement. We'd go to this community house in an apartment building or an apartment unit thing. And they had a guest house. And everybody brought some beans of bread. And the women's movement was just getting going. And the feminist movement was getting going. So, of course, she and I went. We wanted to lend our hand. And, women need more equity. And every time I went, they were talking about women in equity, but we were never talking about race. Now, I, I, I knew I lived in Detroit at the time, Detroit of all places, but I knew there was some issues there. They couldn't address them. They couldn't address them. Everything was about being a feminist. Everything was about, hey, we not treated right. Everything was about, let's push the society to do for us, give us the break. After about 2 meetings, I said, I can't work that hard for women, for feminists to get this break. I'm still Black, and that doesn't factor into the equation. We remember the vote in the 1800s, the march for the vote that never happened for Black women? And so when she and I left that, we said, well, we can't be feminists, so we're going to be womanists. And so that always stayed in my mind, not to separate males from females, but to help females understand you got a specialness in you that's about nurturing and care. Men have it too, but we're the ones that carry the babies. So with that, I'll pass it back to the moderator so that he can pass it along to someone else, probably not 82.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Fair. Yeah, so we did have another person join us here in the space. So oh yeah, we had two people join us in the space. So I will pass it to Zalalem to introduce herself and then take over the facilitation of the conversation. And I think I know that Aguila has to get out of here at 7:30, so maybe after you guys check in, you can pass it to her to
I
tell
gotta
her
head out at 7.
about her journey into the Kepler space. 7, yeah. So I pass it to you, Z. Thank you for joining us today.
Does that mean everyone's already checked in?
Yes.
You guys are so fast. Wow. Hi, y'all. I'm Zalalem. You can call me Z. What was the check-in question, or is it just my story?
Yeah, the second question is number, color, and woman or female figure in your life you want to pay some respect to.
Oh, okay. I'm feeling like a lime green today, probably a 8.8. It's Chanilu's birthday, so I feel like I'm celebrating too, which is great. And woman figure I want to uplift in my life. I've been thinking about my grandmothers a lot. I all of my grandparents have long passed. But I just remember being a kid and only visiting a couple times in Ethiopia, and I would always get a bunch of like blessings that they would give me, and they'd make me sit down. They would talk to me about all the things I would do when I got older. So I still feel like I think about those blessings often. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a really good day today. I'm like, one of the blessings that they gave me, like how many years ago, is active right now. So I reflect on that a lot these days because it feels like there's a lot good. And okay, who am I? My journey. Well, Agila first. Okay, I'll pass it to Agila to check in and then share a little bit about who you are and your story.
Um, Sorry, what was the check-in question?
A woman or female figure in your life you want to pay some respect to.
Ooh, okay. I am feeling like a grounded, dark, rich, soil black 8. And a woman I want to pay my respects to is my mother. I am actually on my way to go have dinner with her and a family friend of ours. But I was just always reflecting about her as a young person. Um, and now in a different stage in our lives where, she's always going to be my mother. I'm going to always be the little 4-year-old girl for her. But, we're both adults and our dynamic has shifted a little bit. And just always, and recognizing my mother for being a person beyond her role as mother, and just very humbled by her ever growing commitment to her own growth and self mastery and reflection, and self accountability, and somebody who's always open to learning and growing, and somebody who always is somebody that cares a lot, and just knowing all the sacrifices that she has made, what she has gone through in her life, just always very inspired by her. And then, one of the main reasons why I am here today doing the work I'm doing is because of my mother, her mother before her, and the mothers in my family line. So yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Z.
All right, I'll pass it to you to check in. You're muted, my friend. Probably Agila.
Unmute.
Okay, so color is lime, numbers 11. Women come to mind, of course. Well, first of all, Pambana was in a board meeting all day from 10 to 6, so she's going to take a pass on the opportunity tonight. So, of course, I'm shouting Pambana out, who Paula did mention earlier, my wife, and one of the co-founders of Kepler, for all the reasons that Ms. Fair shared earlier. Shout my mother out at 92, single parent, raised 3 boys from Canton, Mississippi. Maybe a high school diploma, maybe not, rumor has it, but always quiet warrior then and now. So shout her out. And of course, the women on this call who I come to know, love, and work with, and have shown me grace over the years. Definitely the 82-year-old Miss Fair, who's a mentor, matriarch, and don't mind getting in your ass whenever you get off the page, gets in mine on a regular basis every morning, and appreciate it. Is Mystery on the call?
No, she is not currently.
So Mystery, daughter-in-law, partner to my son Diop, mother of our grandchildren, and a real young, spirited warrior. Has the kind of courage you need to do revolutionary work in revolutionary times. So that's my check-in. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm thinking Miss Fair's been the only one to share about her journey to Kepra, and a bit of her experience and time and what she does right now. So I'm thinking we'll hit Agila first because Agila's got to leave at 7, and then we'll come back and check if anyone else has to leave, and then we'll get into sharing folks. And then talking about what that impact looks like, how great it's been to be us and be here. So I'll pass to you, AG.
Okay, so just my journey overall.
I would say, explain who you are, what you do, and then maybe your journey into Kepra, I think.
Yeah. So, hello everybody. My name is Agila. You she, they pronouns. Been with Kepra about, actually it'll be 10, no, it won't be 10 years. It'll be 9 years this year. Close to 10 years this next year, but it'll be 9 years this year. And I, like many of the young people that have come here, was on a journey of looking for community and space to try to impact the world. I come from a very community-oriented culture, very communal, very collective culture. I identify as somebody who is Malaysian Tamil. And so what that means is my people are from the region of what is now the states of India and Sri Lanka, in the southern part of India, northeastern part of Sri Lanka. We speak the language Tamil. And in my great grandparents' generation, on my mother's and my father's side, migrated over as indentured labor to work on the rubber and oil palm estates in Malaysia. And I was born there. I'm fourth generation. And that experience, we are agriculturalists, farmers, historically, have led me to do this work in community. I would say as I have gone through and explored my family history, the thread of building community and trying to create impact and better our circumstances, and being very political have been in my family for I don't know how many generations, but and is something that I grew up around with my parents and their own consciousness, living under those conditions. And so it was inevitable that I became a rabble rouser. My great grandmother on my mother's side also was was a very strong, independent, very opinionated woman who, to escape famine, brought her family over to Malaysia and, worked really hard to provide a different life for her family. And that strong warrior spirit exists on both my mother and father's side of women, as complicated and, as people are. So it is in that journey that I think, was inevitable that I found a like community of folks. I remember just this moment where I was writing my thesis and I was at IU in one of the libraries in the stacks, just had papers around me, going back and forth between two academics arguing with each other. And I was like, how do I fit this into my thesis? Pulling my hair out. And I was like, there was a moment of clarity where I was like, oh, I cannot be in academia. I cannot be in this institution in the ivory tower. I need to be somewhere on the ground. And I've always found the most joy doing work on the ground and with like-minded people. So I had been looking and I was searching for some space or community organization like that, and was doing some different kind of organizing activism work, and was connected and found out about Kepra and an event that we were doing titled Gentrification Class race. It was like power, class, race, and gender. Something like that was a subtitle. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know Indianapolis got down like this. And I was like, all right, let me check it out. And I went to a very spirited, um, and there was just like very rich conversations, very honest, very like intellectually rigorous conversation um, that were happening. And um, and then it was followed up by another event where there was a documentary that Kepra did with I think it was Dr. Waterhouse's students at the environmental justice like law clinic or something that was happening at you. And these law students and Kepra worked together to talk about food deserts and also highlight the work that Kepra was doing.
Okay, it sounds like them Carmel Highways snatched the Gila from us. Just know I'ma hold them account. Oh, you're back? We're gonna give her a second.
Hello?
Agila, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you cut out, disconnected, and we kind of lost
Now
that
I
last.
can.
Oh,
Lost. Hello?
I'm so. You keep chopping up. I hear you say hello though.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, that's better. Okay, where did I get cut off at? Where in my long rambling journey?
Dr. Waterhouse and his gang.
Dr. Waterhouse. So they were doing a documentary about CCFI basically. And I was like, oh, they're not just thinking hard, they're working hard. I was thinking the phrase that I use is, not just critics, but critical doers. And it was such a clear example of like, people, not
Oh, you're cutting out again,
that.
Agila.
Because I'm out in the booties. Sorry. Can y'all hear me now?
Just a little bit.
But now.
Go ahead.
But yeah, so I joined. I walked right up to M with all my 20-year-old gumption and 23. My, young people like, yeah, I'm about to do this shit. Also, my parents were like, rent's 2 months. You have graduated. We've done our job. Time to pay up. And so I was like, all right, how can I like be involved? And was like, how do I get involved? Can I volunteer? Can I intern? And then, those of us who know M, he does that little smirk, little smile. And he was like, yeah, sure, come through. And he was like, come by on Tuesday. And I did. And I know, in my journey as a young person here, I've done a lot of different kinds of work, did a little stint in media, did a little there, did a little here. But primarily started out in grants and grant writing. I had experience with fundraising and nonprofit stuff. So was actually under, back in the day, one of the many chapters of Kepra under the tutelage and mentorship of Pambana, who is just like an incredible person, an incredible woman that I had the fortune to be mentored and guided by in this space. Who built out our grants engine, and I was mentored under her and supported in that space. I was also interested in the climate environmental work, just as somebody, who saw the framework of climate and environmental justice impacting not just like the lived environment, but the systems of like poverty, police violence, things like that, as part of that. And now, through our participation in Climate Justice Alliance, sit on the board representing the Kepler Institute at the national organization. So yeah, And then, of course, in my many hats, I also, am one of the haters in the room. Argue with M. Also, try to bring a world perspective. My background is in international studies, so always thinking about things through the lens of what's happening globally, the connections to the local, the regional, the national, and the global. So yeah, that's me.
Hey, I got a quick question, Gila, before you hop off.
And
I was ear hustling a little bit earlier. Are you and Z on a panel sometime soon that's public knowledge or not, and folks can be
yes,
invited to it?
yes, absolutely. So we have it on our platforms. And if y'all aren't following Denise Abdul Rahman, please do. Denise is a good longtime friend of ours, as well as like a tireless and um, just like advocate and warrior for communities, especially Black communities in Indiana, around energy independence, cooperation, and environmental climate justice in the state. So myself and Zalalam are co-moderating a panel of some really amazing women, folks who are, so it's Denise, Representative Carolyn Jackson, Brenda out of the city of Gary's sustainability office, as well as Regina Williams Prescott, who's doing some great work out of North Bend as a teacher, educator, and activist in the food space there. And so we're co-moderating, myself and Salalama, a panel tomorrow with those women, and where we'll be talking about what's happening, their own personal journeys into this work about environment, what they're seeing in their own like respective, from their vantage points about what's happening in the state in these times, and then their journeys as women leaders in Indiana.
Couldn't have said that any better, Agila. Please hop on. It's 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. We can try and get a link in the chat before the discussion is over tonight. So if folks are interested, we can send that out. So please, we would appreciate if y'all came through and heard some boss leaders in the space.
Nope.
Oh, okay, Agila, before you go, do you feel like you've grown and changed as a young woman leader in the almost 10 years you've been here at Kepra?
Yes, I have metamorphosed. I have become undone into goo,
Oh, wow.
a cocoon, and like really so much of myself and my own growth has been about interdependence as community. The women and men in our space who have poured in, and especially like want to definitely echo the shout outs to Pambana and Mrs. Fair, who are co-founders, and the other women in this space that I've learned so much from as just OGs. Deidre Coleman, Deidre Fair, uh, Miss Vicky Daniels, the elders, Miss Betty Joe, who was one of our OG Suppers. Just, so many people that have pushed me, forced me to look at, myself, my own growth, my own self-mastery. Shout outs to all my peers, Tara, Mimi, Yuzalala, and just like the importance of community during these times. And especially, we are existing in a social context and a political context where women's, not just in the US, but globally, the rights of women are being rolled back, that a lot of our people have fought for, a rollback, in addition to many other rights as well. So it's the wisdom, the journey, the histories of the people in my community that help me not completely panic and like have a breakdown every other hour. um, and have like really committed to my own transformation and growth. So shout out everybody.
We'll snap to that.
Yeah.
But all right. I know you got to skedaddle, boss. We really thank you for sharing your journey, and you're an inspiration to us all. So please
Well, thank
keep being
you.
a bad bitch. Keep it up.
Ah, I don't know how not to be.
Period.
I don't think my ancestors will let me be anything but. I will get haunted.
I know that's right. Haunted is crazy, Agila. But to
They will.
keep the flow, I think maybe we can pass it to Miss Deidre here in the room with us, and then we'll popcorn through and get some more of the journeys and I guess lives of some of the women in the Kepler space who are here holding it down. To you, our favorite fashion designer and local artist, Deidre Coleman.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I like to say that I am a Kepler lifer. I've been around a long time, and the introduction was really my son, Razan J. LaShawn Coleman, who's 28 now, and he was 8 years old when he came to camp with his best friend, Evan. And they planted trees on Boulevard and Capitol and went on field trip to the windmills up north and was around during the hydroponics era and just so many things. The Capoeira story is extremely rich and do so much work that no one else in this community and even a lot in the nation as we see as people call Kepler for advice and everything under the sun, consultation, on and on and on. And they take on a lot of the idiosyncrasies and culture of Kepra, the way we check in, and you see that duplicated, and that's a major form of flattery. So I've done everything in the Kepra space. I'm looking at this pillow here. This is one of my babies that I created and I'm just so proud of it because it's got the dung beetle on it. And that was a social enterprise that the school, the Kepler KI Swing Academy, launched in partnership with Mr. Robert Moore. And it's just so many things that Kepler does. And so to really speak to it is I'm just not going to do it any justice because I've been around a long time. But I think I want to say what I love the most is the intentional effort to mentor and pass the mic to the young leaders and develop the young leaders because as a whole, our culture does a piss poor job of that. And so, because of that, a lot of the wisdom leaves when they leave or when they die or drop dead in the pulpit. So, Kepler is turning that piece on its head. And so the lollipops, lipstick, just so many things that we did that really made a monumental difference in so many people's lives. One of my godsons was in that fashion show. He's since been murdered and is not here. But when he spoke about the things that made a difference in his life, that was one of them. And so at that time, we were into recycle, reduce, reuse. And so that was like, just like so far ahead, just from an innovation standpoint, even thinking about that. And we did it in partnership with the foster grandparents. So here you had young people with their dreams, goals, and aspirations and making their own labels and creating their own creations from some clothes that we got from Goodwill. And then the seniors. And it was like, dang. And then, of course, the partnership with the seniors, M had a guy named Jim, and Jim had built this fabulous runway, had a glass bricks and this glass brick wall, and just some of the things, and so many of the things that have happened in Kepra over the 20 plus years. You can't even capture it all because a lot of times people will be saying, but it really happened. And I'm glad to be a small part of it. And what I like to do is love all the babies up. I just love them. And so if I can pour some love into some of these young geniuses, then that's what I'm gonna do. And even if it's in the background or if it's a text or whatever. It's a back massage. Then that's what I'm gonna do. I'm an artist and I love them. And yeah, that's
Now,
it.
Deidre, divas don't know nothing about being in the background.
How did you become an artist and a fashion designer?
Oh, okay, very good, very good. Well, I knew at a very young age I wanted to be a fashion designer, and all the little ladies on my block on Shriver knew my grandmother. And they surrounded me and they were like, Little Coleman, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so I said, I want to be a fashion designer because I knew I always wanted to do that. And so they said, why don't you be a teacher? Why don't you be a nurse? What they could relate to, but that was just always a burning passion of mine. And so I went to Dallas, Texas, and then I moved to Chicago and studied fashion design there and started the brand Enderas. And it's a lifestyle brand. And it's now 40. How old is my son? 44. Raheem Hotep is 44 years old. So the brand is 44 years old. So that's how I started. But then I found out along the way that I love painting much better than I love doing clothes. So I paint, I paint, I paint. And so I'll show this year at Meet the Artist as a fine artist. So yeah. Thank you.
And Deidre hadn't even said it, but not only is she someone that loves on us as the youth, she's a teacher too. So I was one of the first Kepra youth to take one of the Sewing Academy classes, and she was in there with Mr. Moore teaching us, helping me figure out how to put that bobbin in the sewing machine, fixing my pants, because we would have times where we would bring our clothes in and she would just fix a zipper on my clothes. So it's like, yeah, just your journey, and you do so much for us. So we love you so much. Okay. I'm not gonna get emo. I'm gonna pass it to Miss Lashonda. You're back. If you had some time, I know before you mentioned you had to hop off in the chat, but we would love to hear your journey, your story, and how you got here to Kepra.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had to hop off. I thought I wasn't coming back, but life has a way. So I'm LaShonda, um, born and raised in Gary, Indiana. Let's see, how did I get to Capra? Well, let me back up a little bit. Yeah, born and raised in Gary, Indiana, city I love. Um, Grew up in community. My grandmother, who raised us, made sure we were in community, so that when we roam around the city, we were allowed to roam around the city. We were okay because people had eyes on us. So we knew people. Then shortly after I become of age, they began to label our city. So that's not the city that a lot of people know today as Gary as what I know. Shortly after that, I started having my children and I moved to Minnesota. Raised them in Minnesota. There was some struggles there. It was a culture shock coming from a city that you know everybody and it's okay. We knew to stay within a certain boundaries. Going to a whole nother state, it was a little culture shock there for me. But we made it through. But I became ill. My health began to fail me, and I moved back. I thought I would move back home to Gary, but ended up moving here to Indianapolis. My niece was here. I was able to stay with her and provide child care, just as family do, until I moved out into my own apartment. But I decided to go back to school, finish the degree that I had been seeking for years when I had money to pay for classes. So I went back to school. I had time to do that. And my graduating month, I think it was the end of, I graduated in December of 2022. And that's when I came to Kepler. That last semester, I was looking for just little bit of money. So I did a work study and I came to Kepler, but I found so much more. So I don't say I came to Kepler because of the work study money. I came to Kepler because I believe I was seeking something different than what I've been seeing throughout my life. So yes, it was different. I was loving it. I was like, is this real? And then I thought, yeah, it's real because that's how I was raised. I was raised in community. People helping each other, loving each other, understanding each other, working together. Let's see, I've been, so since the end of 2022, I've been in this space. Right now, well, first thing I learned was that I was a young senior. Thank you, Miss Fair. And I'm like, I'm not a young senior. I don't know what she's talking about. But baby, this transition to the senior years, young or not, it is different for me. I think I'm coming into what Miss Fair described as my womanness. I just started to see life different. It's not about me because it's always been about me because I felt like I was a middle child. It was never about me. So it was going to be always about me. But I'm learning that it's not about me, it's about my influences, um, how I move, how I influence the space around me. And that's what I intend to do. My biggest transformation will be when I join Growing Good in the is when I finally recognized what life is truly about. That message my grandmother had always been trying to teach me that I wasn't learning. So I joined Growing Good in the Hood. I got a lot of mental clarity. I got my health under control. And I started building relationship with a family I never had known. I started gathering this relationship with they would be my great nieces and nephews. I used to bring them to Growing Good in the Hood, Judge, Lamia, Chanel. I used to bring them and they used to want to come. At first, they did not want to come. I was like, you guys are going to come. We're going to start experiencing life differently. Lamia and Judge were, their dad is very sick and he's younger. He's in his 30s. So they were like raising him, taking care of him. So I was like, just a couple of hours a week, if we can get them out of that environment and expose them to what is out in the community. And boy, did they brighten up. They're still to this day. Judge went through some bullying situation at school. And I was like, well, why would they want to bully you? And as we talked, I learned that Judge is very intelligent. I said, Judge, you don't ever let anybody define who you are. I know what they say, but and I'm saying, not telling you to ignore it, but just always remember who you are. So that's my Kepler story. I mean, I can go on and on, but I don't want to go too far in the weeds. But just going through Growing Good in the Hood and being in this space has really transformed my life. Has really transformed. So it's called transformation because I haven't got the resolution yet because I'm still dealing with some things. I seem like I have a lot on my plate, but it's like before I used to feel like I had to do it all, but now I'm not saying I don't have to do it all, but I have people who can help me with this journey. And I'll say that, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
We snap into that and say, mm-hmm, over here.
Oh,
Yup.
and
Yup.
Miss Fair, to see your name on my text, I was like, I cannot turn this woman down. I cannot turn this woman down. You were one of the biggest influences in this space.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, the women of Kepra, you know you there. I remember when you first started coming to the garden and
Mm-hmm.
you just came to work in the garden, and then you brought your nephew, and
Mm-hmm.
then your sister came, and you truly became a family member. So the women of Kepra always will include you.
Thank you.
And I hope you know, just like this space transformed you, you've transformed us. So to be able to work with you, be your friend, be your confidant, be your bully or your ally, you do it all for us. You're one of the funniest people I know.
What?
And you have a serious line of inquiry about you too. I know you don't want to say you want to open your mouth and do it, but you ask some serious questions, girl.
Oh, okay. Well, you know
So
what? All my life, people have said, why do you ask so many questions? And I'm like, I just want clarification. That's all I'm trying to get. I guess I can be that way, but it's okay because it's me. I
hmm
need clarification.
and we love you for it. So always thank you. We love you so much.
No,
All
thank
right.
you. See?
Okay, we got a couple more folks on the Zoom. I'm gonna quickly go and share my journey, who I am, and then we'll finish off with the folks on the Zoom, and then maybe take the last 30 or so minutes to just open up the impact in the work, where we see it going, how we can continue to support women and create space for them in our work as well. But like I said, I'm Zalalam. My full name is Zalalam Temeskin. My name means forever thanking God. I'm like the first and only child of my two parents. I'm Sala and Tesfai. I was born in the United States here in Indianapolis, Indiana, West Side, represent right here. But my family is from the east of Africa. I am 100% Ethiopian. My mother is Gurage, my father is Amara. And I think that has a big part of like Agila said, the collectivist and shared community I have being raised in the Ethiopian American space here that has been cultivated in Indiana. So like I grew up going to the Felaga Hiwat Center, which is another non-for-profit here in the city that does work with young black and brown children and incorporating STEM education along with like agriculture and growing into our childhood. And along with that, I've really just grown up in the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. So like I've had a lot of formative experiences being raised with a lot of people of a lot of ages, and a lot of varying viewpoints. My dad's an avid reader. Before we'd go to church, he'd give me books about philosophy, and I would read them, and I'd come to him and be like, "So why are we going to church if we got all these other ideas here?" He'd be like, "You can't ask that question." I'm like, "You gave me the book. I have to ask the question." So just know I got some cuckoo for Cocoa Puff parents who raised an even cuckooer child. But I grew up thinking I wanted to be a scientist. I still kind of am. I love data and research, but really my biggest passion is health, and wellness. And so for that, I went to college and I studied epidemiology, which is a branch of psychology that is more population health and statistics and measuring the impact that people face from the environment, from themselves, from healthcare, etc. And then my other passion is psychology and mental health. So like I like thinking about how people feel in the body and brain connection as well, and how that impacts our everyday. And for me, that I had a really lacking balance of art and science or education. Being a firstborn daughter of my children, I like deeply feel, we call it the EDIS, immigrant daughter syndrome, essentially. But I felt I had a lot of responsibility to take care of my parents. So I was 20, probably about 22 degrees deep in college, had 3 more years left. And I was working in laboratories and picking up shifts, serving, and I was like going crazy, waking up with panic attacks in the morning, like, what's going on? How am I supposed to finish these things and like take care of my family, my life? Like, how do I be successful? And even though I grew up in a collectivist culture, I had still these really warped perceptions of independence and success, of what it meant to be a functioning person in society. So around that point, I had met my partner in crime, Chinilu, and had happily fell in love, but was really still I had a lot of tension in my life. I wasn't sleeping well, I wasn't feeling well, and just wondering what was wrong about how I was living. So I realized I'd take a step back and find a way to be an active part of my community. And that there was a really big dissociation between the impacts people face and treating them like numbers and not people. So I think I had to come to grips with the institutions and how they saw me and how I saw myself and others who look like me, framed through their lenses. So I came to Kepra in I think the summer of 2021. Finally like, hey, what can I do? I just need to make enough money to make it through school. I just want to be with people. I need help. And they were like, hey, hang out with these kids in this summer book group and write blogs and read and learn about Black people critically. And I haven't left since. Not that that says anything crazy about me, but I think I found a group of people who saw me as a person, and then pushed me critically to become a person. Like, I don't think the way I was living previously could be considered personhood. I was emotionally stunted, did not really know how to ask for help. Like, definitely in a deep end of your own, when you think about I'm emotional. I'm a pivot, but yeah, I can't consider it personhood. So I'll talk about what feels like personhood now in the space that we've created here at Kepra. But yeah, I found a family or a community, I would say. So for me, that journey looks like my current work in the grant space. I was brought in because Agila saw me and snatched me up and was like, you could be a grants researcher. So my inclination for organization and data led me to a place where I was like, maybe I want to learn more, not just about how the systems of health work, but how they get funded, and look more in a broader national and global sense, and just take the things outside the context I've learned and see how I can apply them. And it's now been 3, almost 4 years. I'm the current co-manager in the grant space with Agila. I've been learning under Miss Fairs, Pambana, Agila, Deidre, everyone's tutelage. And I think they've been teaching me some really, I've been getting hip to game, is what I've been feeling. I've been getting real hip to game. So I think in the past 3 years, I've probably grown and changed or transformed is the word we like to use more than I felt like I've changed in my whole life, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I some brief highlights and how maybe I have and how I feel about it. Like, I'm able to say that I've taken the skills I've learned in program management and inquiring with people to like understand that I really like talking to people. And I really want to continue to build relationships with them. I used to think that I belonged in a laboratory, lock me up, I can work alone for hours at a day. I don't need to see the sun or people. I just want peace and silence. Nope. No, I want to be in there with the people. I want to talk to the ladies. I want to talk to the guys. I want to know people's stories. So just opening me up to my truth, and like my spirit. But along with that, I had really closed off a lot of the feelings in my body. Um, and I don't really know how to describe the conditioning that does that to just like not women, but people under capitalism, white supremacy, et cetera. But I like have feeling in my body again, or like I can feel my emotions. So to me, that's like one of the craziest and coolest things I've like built in community. But yeah. Deidre said empath over here, so definitely have cut myself off from that in previous years to now be stepping into it in that part of transformation. So yeah, I don't really know if I have much more to add, but I think I'm still here learning how to kick ass and take names and be an asset and an ally and just lean into my skills, gifts, and talents. So I've been starting my own social enterprises. I've been learning to cook and like share from the heart, and it's been great. I'm that girl now, so it's a blast. um, yeah, so that's me, and this is how emotional it makes me to be a part of this community, but I'm so happy to be here. Um, I will pass it to my good friend Essence to also share part of her journey, what brought her to Kepra, and how she's holding it down, like the big boss that she is as well. Big boss, Miss Fair just said. You didn't hear. I'm narrating.
Thank you. I was really trying to put this into words when you all were talking, and I just don't know. Well, I'm Essence. I have been with Kepra now for 3 or 4 years. I think 3 years going on 4. Yeah, I started working with Kepra because I was a student at Valparaiso University, and I interned at Kepra through my school. And from there, I just decided to stay for a plethora of reasons. One being Kepra has continued to give me the opportunity to learn and expand my skills, while also being able to be a part of a lot of things that I'm passionate about. And um, here at Kepra, I have the opportunity to impact some of the issues and areas that I am most passionate about while also doing something that I love doing. Um, and I also think that Kepra has helped me, I guess I would say in a personal way, kind of piggybacking off of what Z said. I had a very intriguing growing up, I guess I would say. I experienced a lot at a young age, from losing my mother to transitioning my living situation. I've been to 13 different schools, not including, I was at the same high school and the same college all 4 years. So um, I think with that experience, I have definitely gained or became an empath. And I think one of the things I've always tried to navigate is, on one hand, being an empath, but on the other hand, I'm not the most emotional, vulnerable person. So those two things together are quite interesting in trying to understand how to navigate it. And through Kepra, I have been able to um, be a part of a community that definitely pushes that type of growth and continues to help me to
Man,
figure out how to navigate that, and how that looks for me. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Essence, I don't want to push you to say more than you want to, but I'd love if you could share with others some of the work you do in your personal life, the businesses you started,
Oh,
and then also like your own passions as well and what you do currently.
yeah, of course. So, my freshman year of college, I started a business called Essence Mia Lux. And I sell body scrubs and oils, things like that. I also design and sell like mugs and tumblers. And that really started from my freshman year of college. My younger sister actually passed away. And so it was something to help me, I guess, really just to partially distract myself, and then partially, my younger sister, she was only younger than me by a few months, so we were in the same grade and everything. So I think the fact that we both went to school at the same time, and everything was on, we were even as far as our timeline, uh for her to have passed away so early in our college life, I think I kind of took on this responsibility of, I'm not just thriving for success for myself, but everything I accomplish is also connected with her. And then since then, I recently started two other things. I recently started a Bible study group for young women who are trying to figure out how to navigate this world, how to um, cultivate and become the women that we want to be. And also just creating a space in which I feel like God and religion and spirituality, however it resonates with you, has for so long been kind of ignored in my generation. And recently it has become a much bigger thing. But in particular, my purpose was to create a group in which it's less about what you identify as and more about just finding a community, and having somewhere safe to talk about and to learn and further understand how we want to navigate our own individual lives based on how we interpret God's word. And then outside of that, I am also currently, I've already started it, but we're working on our first event, which I am calling it the Lux Experience. And my entire goal for that is, I really enjoy strategic planning and project management. And I really enjoy finding solutions to things. So my entire purpose through that is planning different events or projects that impact something. So the first event we're having is a collaborative campaign shoot for small businesses that are not able to afford a full campaign shoot. We're putting the money together to get the event space and photographers, and we have a bunch of models already. So yeah, that's that.
Wow, thanks. Thanks for sharing, Essence. I know you as the data czar, the czarist, the data wonk. I mean, if we need some kind of strange form that nobody's ever used before or that could be useful, call Essence. And but giving back, it really does leave that handprint in the world. It's just always there. And even at 82, people will come up and remind me of how we were here in life together doing something. And it's just wonderful to go back and see the impact that you've made on other people and how they've grown from that. That is a wonderful experience that you allow other people to have.
So, hey, Essence, can you drop a link to your own business in the chat, folks, in case folks want to support your business, one, and then two, if not on this call, maybe another phone call offline. If there's some ways that Kepler can support your current journey with the entrepreneurs you're supporting in Chicago.
Absolutely. I will drop those links. I don't know if I think we'll probably talk about that the second part later on.
Sounds good.
Thank
Keep
you
up the
all.
good work, Essence. I had to have you share that because they didn't know that you've been working this hard. And I've been keeping up on Instagram. So I had to have you share formally.
Thank you.
All right. It looks like we got a couple other folks I'm not too familiar with, but for those who do know Kepra, have a journey or a story to share, and then I've been in this space, I really want to hear from you. So Renee, Cass, Nazia, I'll start with Renee, actually. Renee, please share your story, who you are, and what's brought you to Kepra.
Yeah, so I don't have a very long story. I just joined as a work study for this semester. But I basically joined it. I saw that it was remote and I was like, man, I do need a remote work study. And I looked through the mission and the history and I was like, oh wow, it seems like a really cool and great organization. I love what they're doing. And so here I am. It's been quite a
Renee,
journey to get here though.
actually, do you mind sharing anything about that? I know I've only had you in a couple meetings where I've get to know and heard your feedback because you sound real insightful and your takes on AI are hot and real, and I'm a fan of you. But like, who are you? How did you exist upon this earth before we got to meet you in this state, you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. So like I said, my name is Renee. So my parents are, well, my dad is Jamaican, and then my mom is Puerto Rican. And so they met and had me. I am the second child, the youngest, 11 years apart from my older sister, so we have quite a bit of an age gap. But in school, I was really inclined towards the arts. And so when I went to college, that's what I did. I got my BFA in printmaking. I was specialized in ceramics as well. So I really like the arts. Right now, I am working at the Orlando Science Center as a presenter. So what that means is I am doing shows and our education presentations, so like on space or about chemicals or about dinosaurs, or I'm doing shows with fire or explosions or liquid nitrogen. I'm also in our lab areas, so our science lab that we have, our technology lab, and then our maker space, which is my favorite place to be because then I get to kind of create more in there because it's a maker space. And then in there, I'll do work So I've made a couple of workshops that we have for our guests, and then I've also run a couple that have been made from others. It's mostly just me doing the workshops. I'm the only one that really knows how to do them, but it's very fun. I was actually talking about that earlier with Alvin on a call. We're talking about just workshops and making things and being able to provide guests a way to learn STEM or STEAM skills within their own homes or in community places that are around them.
Thank you, Renee. I just wanted to ask, Renee lives in the area of Orlando, Florida,
Yes.
and is working on a master's. And I remember, the era of Zoom, the pandemic put us all there. We were all going to online in 2019 and 2020, but March 15th, 2020, bam, we all just fell right off the cliff and went right straight to Zoom. And so it has such wonderful advantages because wonderful young people like Renee is able to reach out and say, hey, Kepra, you all look like a place I'd like to grow some skills. And so when I met Renee, I just really a lovely, lovely person. And I'm so pleased you picked us. Thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
so that was part of my journey is that I guess there were some forms I had to sign in person and I didn't know about that, but I was like, you know what? I've come this far and it seems like a really interesting place. Where else am I going to get the experience to work at somewhere like this? So I took a round trip for a day up to Indianapolis and I went to the school, signed my papers. I met I met a bunch of different people because I went to visit Ferris and M. I also saw Alvin and a couple of the other, I guess, founders on the board. I got a mug, and I got a book. It was very fun. And then I left from their place. I went to the airport and I flew right back. I also saw snow for the first time, so that was very fun. I also fell in the snow for the first time, so that was also very interesting. But it was a great trip and I enjoyed it. So.
And again, thank you, thank you, thank you for picking us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Cass, you've been in and around Capra for a while, and I've just been meaning to ask you, how old is your son now? What is he, 10, 11 years old, 12 maybe? Tell everybody about who you are and how long you've been connected to Capra and come to our event. I remember the Black History one, the political Black history that Ramla did the classes, and you came to those. And I think that was the first time I remember meeting you. Cass, are you still with us?
There we go. Sorry, I'm trying to get myself off mute. I've done Zoom so long, but I don't know, coming off mute is still a challenge for me. But anyway, yes. Actually, so my kid is 12 now, and he's as tall as me. Time has really flown by. Yeah. So I have a 12-year-old now, and yeah, I have been around with Capra for a while. I actually ended up moving away actually like 3 years ago, but before then, um, what actually got me into Capra? I think, okay, so if I remember correctly, it was when I decided to go to Ferguson uh, with ND10 and someone ended up telling us that I think it was uh, Erin. She ended up telling us that some people from Capra were interested in hearing our story, and I was like, okay, I've heard of that. I've heard of you guys before, so I was like, okay. So I think that was like my first time ever going to a Capra event, and I was actually, speaking about the experience in Ferguson. And after that, I think we ended up talking. I ended up talking to him, and so I don't know. That just kind of just went from there. I was interested in the different programs that were going on. I think you guys were doing hydroponics at the time, and I've heard about it, and I just thought that was just so cool. And so it just kind of blossomed from there. Kept coming to different events. Um, then I ended up volunteering. I think with Mimi, with the food pantry or the food drive. Where's my? Oh, I forgot what it's called. That's
CCFI.
Yes, I am getting. I don't know. It might be the old age, y'all. I should know that. But also, yeah, I'm not really feeling 100% today. But yeah, so I was volunteering, handing out food bags, and I was doing that for a while, and it got me really interested in food and learning how to grow food. Um, so yeah, that's what kind of got me into Kepler. Um, and also, my experience at Kepler helped me to figure out, I guess, more of who I am as a person. That kind of makes sense. I've always, when I went to school, I always, tried to do something practical because I didn't really want to explore the creative side to me, and ended up having some really intimate talks or intimate, interesting talks with Miss Fair, and I started to realize that my major at the time, which I'm pretty sure was it was either business or elementary education, wasn't really my passion. So I ended up going back to other passions, which were music and media. And yeah, so I kind of just I went back to school, started taking classes in media and music. Um, yeah, ended up moving away actually because kind of like a tragic event kind of happened with my family, and I just needed some time to get away and kind of, see just to see if I would just miss Indiana. And one of the things I do miss is being at Capra. Uh, uh, I'll be Capra. Oh my word. Hold on. Sorry. Being at Capra. I'm sorry. I do not really feel well today, y'all. But I'm a fight. I'm gonna push through. Um, excuse me. But yeah. So just being in community, being so far out from community, it does take its toll. Even though we do have a pretty good life here, my kid, has been on honor roll, student of the month, and everything. But I do miss being a part of Kepler because it's such a interesting community of people that help you, especially when you are a person that likes to ask questions and don't like this or don't really build a bold will with the status quo, and you have people telling you that you need to conform and things like that. It helps ground you and help you to realize that this you're not crazy, and that things do need to be questioned, uh, and certain things are important, like being creative, learning yourself, having time to learn yourself and be creative, stuff like that. So that kind of helped me. So again, like it just kind of helped me with my own journey through life because like I was around people that I was, questioning things and I was interested in certain things and I don't know, I just wasn't getting the response that I was looking for. Being told that, just basically just conform to whatever, is there, like certain religions and certain beliefs. And finding Kepper, it was just a eye-opening experience to realize that, okay, there are other people that feel the same way I do, who are passionate about social justice and the environment and community like I am. And so yeah, basically, been a little homesick. I'm actually have been debated about moving back to Indiana because even though like again, being out here was an interesting experience. Um, Ended up getting um a role in a movie, and I never thought that was going to happen. So it has been a great experience out here, but it's just the missing of community because I don't have that same, you know, I don't really feel like I have that same community, and I don't know where to do the things that I don't know where to do the things that I did with Kepper, at Kepper here. Or so it's just kind of like realizing how special the space is, and just um, also realizing um, how much I do miss, community, and missing community, I guess, and seeking community because it's just, um, I don't know. I've been here for like 3 years and I haven't really found a community that I've, vibe with like that. So
If
yeah.
I remember correctly, you moved to, was it Kentucky? Because you inherited some land?
Oh no. So I ended up moving to Oklahoma because it was
Oklahoma.
close to um, Arkansas, and I thought that eventually, maybe like in a year's time, I would eventually move from Oklahoma to Arkansas. But that did not happen because I'm still figuring out how to um, basically get the land in my name because it's currently not in my name and no one's giving me like the tools to get it transferred from my grandmother's name to mine so it'll be mine and I can get things built on it. So that has been um a process and I haven't given up, but I'm just putting a pin in it because there's other things that I'm doing and it's just kind of getting pushed back to the back burner. um
Hey, Cassandra, can you give Miss Fair a call uh, after the call? Let's talk a little bit more about where you at and how we can help you navigate your journey.
That'd be really awesome. I will. I think I still have.
Father,
You know what? I think.
can you share your number?
Yeah, I actually have a new phone, so
Put it in
yeah,
the
I'm
chat.
gonna need it.
Okay.
Yeah. Niles is going to put it in the chat for her.
Okay, thank you.
Cass, I have
But
go ahead,
oh,
please
go ahead.
finish off. No, I
Oh,
was gonna
but
say
now I was
thank you.
gonna wrap it up.
Girl, you're good. I was like, I never met you, but I want to from just hearing you talk. So
That is so sweet. Yes, definitely from hearing you talk too. I'm just like, well, like I have not met her. But I think, yeah, I don't think I was there maybe when you came to Capra, but I'm like, I really would like to. Like, I think, like, yeah, like, but seeing the new people that are in Capra, and I'm just like, wow, yeah, there are some really cool people. Wish I could meet them one day.
look, we'll have you back here soon. Trust, we're gonna link up. We will be linking up.
Maybe this summer. I'm really
Woo!
considering moving back. Like again, like I've had a time here. Me and my kid have had like a really good time here, but I just feel like it's time. Um, yeah, especially after I got like that acting gig. I was like, if I get this at least one acting gig, I'm moving because I can be able to do other things with that. But I actually ended up getting it yesterday, so that was like my first ever set that I was ever on. I was a background extra.
Congratulations. Woo.
Yeah, thank you. Because I was like, I kept applying, and I was just like, maybe one day. And the crazy part is like, I didn't even think I was gonna get it. I just applied just to be applying. I was like, I'm just gonna apply. I won't get it, but whatever. And then I think an hour later, it was like, hey, come to set, and I'm like, awesome. So, that was a really fun experience, and it's just a stepping stone. Because I mean, I don't want to. My thing is, watching the scene and watching those actors do the scene at least about 50 times. I was like, yeah, I'm more of a behind the scene type of person. I'd rather write because I could not
Yeah.
imagine doing a scene for like, again, it
Mm-mm.
was fun, but we had to redo scenes like at least 50 times. And I was just like, yeah, the writing room looks about my speed.
Yeah. Well, we hope to get more of that and learn more about, your writing room genius because I'm trying to hear more about your journey too. So please, please, please catch up. Let's just hit us up. Yeah, I want to talk to you more, Cass.
Okay, will do. Thank y'all.
Yeah. All right, 7:45. I think the only person that's new to me on this call that I'm gonna assume from your name is it Nasia M? Can you pronounce your name for me so I'm not gonna mispronounce it for you?
Yes, I'm sorry. My name is Naja. Um,
Nasia. Okay.
yep. So my name is Naja. I'm just joining in as support to my best friend Essence. I don't know much about Kepra. I have been listening and just hearing everyone's journey. So just wanted to get a little bit more insight on what my best friend does. We've been friends for a very long time. So just learning more about her role and just what the company, well, what the organization has to offer. Yeah, that's basically it. But like I said, my name is Naja. That's me.
Th- Wait, I'm gonna pass it to Miss Fair because she's doing some inquiry. But thank you, Naja.
No
We love a
problem.
bestie supporting a bestie.
Really, BFFs. I have a girlfriend. I met her. She and I lived a couple of doors apart. We were pregnant together. Those babies are now 55 years old. And we're still really good friends. She remained there in Detroit, and I live here. So BFFs are, it's great after 55 years when you can say, man, we've been dragging each other along for a long time. So where do you live, Nasha?
I live in Chicago. I'm born and raised on the south side of Chicago.
Very nice. Miss Fair, do you have any other inquiry? No? None off the top of your head. Naja, maybe I'll ask, just from what you've heard today, or even just knowing Essence over the years, do you feel like there's been an impact, or has Essence been making an impact that you can feel too in this space as well?
Yes, I will definitely say Essence. I've known Essence since I was about 12 or 13. So that would put her at that same age, a little bit older. And just seeing her grow over the years as a person, but now as a young woman, the impact that she makes every day in her life, it makes me proud to be her best friend. Just knowing so much about her and what she's accomplished over the years, with her businesses, with her education, and like she said, with the many obstacles she's faced in her life. I feel like what you guys do has made a serious impact as well on who she has become and who she's becoming as a young Black woman in the society that we live in. And I feel like she's doing an amazing job. Like I said, it makes me proud to be her best friend just to know everything she does and what she's capable of and what she's doing. So, yes, to answer your question, yes, I do.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's so beautiful to be able to hear about Essence from your perspective and words, and the way you speak about her It just shows how much y'all know each other and love each other. Like, that's so sweet and beautiful to me.
Thank you.
Woo. Okay. now that we've gotten a chance to hear from everybody or all the women on the call, I really just want to take the last maybe, wow, we only got 11 minutes. I'm so glad we could yap like this and catch up. But maybe where do we see the future? How do we see women leadership, and even the transformative divine feminine or love that we present here or have seen historically? How is that going to lead us to the future? And how do you see your role taking us into the future too as women? If y'all have feelings or thoughts, or those who aren't, how do you see the impact of us and others in the space too, if you have any future vision? And I know Khalid hasn't said one word once, but we're gonna have to make him speak eventually. So you will have the last word, my young friend. I'm passing to Deidre.
I just want to say there's a definite need, even bigger than need. I can't think of a better word for the divine feminine, because that unbalance of all the masculine, uh, illustrated like it's narcissistic energy, has caused a major unbalance. And someone said earlier that the women's position is going backwards, and that it's not going to work, and it's a travesty, and and we're seeing it on all levels across the board. And here locally, my best friend took her car to a Chevrolet dealership on the east side, right? And she got her car from there, and she was getting a catalytic converter, and so she said, "Where's this woman that she's been used to talking to every time at the dealership?" And so the man who took her and her boyfriend home, he said they fired all the women except for one who works in parts. And I was like, damn, And so the woman had been there for 20 plus years, and it's just amazing how people are blindly, making these decisions that it's just not going to work. And a friend of mine said he's going to give, the organization 6 months, because to think that men can work in an environment or a corporation without the divine feminine energy of a lot of times empathy, compassion. Not that men don't have those, but they just don't illustrate them a lot of times in the same way. So, that patience that you might need, or somebody just have a little bit compassion with you, it's not going to be there. And so, just to see how people are blindly following rules of DEI. But then it's good to see people like Costco and other organizations that's like, no, we're taking a stand against this. This is bullshit. So it's just interesting to see the whole thing play out. This huge chess game that is happening. But that's a good question, Z. And again, I'm proud of the efforts of and the intentionality of Kepra in putting youth leaders at the helm, because you listen to old school and there's a nice balance, but y'all are definitely at the lead. And I just say, raise my glass to that, because it's needed. And yeah, that's what I say.
Cheers, Kepra. And cheers to Deidre. Essence, you got your hand raised, bestie, all you.
Yeah, I just had two things I wanted to say really quickly. One, going off of your question, I was thinking about this recently, and I used to have someone that would tell me that my actions or the things that I put my time into was based off of emotions too much and not logic. And they would try to spew to me how, logic is so important and yada, 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 yada. And I think as of recently, when I was doing some reflecting of my own and where I'm working on being, I came to the conclusion that, at least for me, I think that emotion and passion will always be the core of it. I feel like for me, that's what gives me the why, and the logic is what gives me the what. And so I think in my mind, it just, in the world that we live in, it looks as if, women have more of that nurture and emotional side than men do. And so I think for me, it just goes to show, we're not going to get much accomplished without the strong women that we continue to see every couple of generations, and it's going to be more and more important. And I hope that the way the world is turning out right now pushes more of us to use our skills and figure out how and what we should be impacting. And the other thing I just wanted to throw out really quickly, Naja doesn't get to just talk about me. So she didn't say her job. So I'll just add that she is the top banker in her region for Fifth Third Bank. And she's not even 25 yet. She's 22. So just wanted to add that in there.
Was that really
I
necessary?
know that's right. We know that's right. Speak on her. Yeah. Yeah.
And Essence, thank you so much. Sharing those kinds of comments, especially Nasha about you whom we do not know, but just sharing that. I mean, it just gives an uplift to all of us because the old Ubuntu, I am because you are. So I thank you for sharing, Essence.
Man, y'all are really spitting today. All right, we only got 5 minutes left. Oh, LaShonda. Oh, I love all the hearts. Okay, hearts over here too in person. We love seeing y'all's hearts. Anybody else want to share real quickly before we wrap up today and we give our thanks?
I guess I could. Um, I think what we really do need is women telling stories. Um, I have noticed that there's not a lot of women in the storytelling spaces, like especially like in the film space and even in director roles. And I just feel like um, in order to have our stories told, like who better to do it than us? And we do need more women leads, more women roles. Um, because I just feel like we all have a story, and I just feel like not many of our stories are being told as much as they should. And in the future, for the future, I see me and others, telling stories, making sure that women are represented in that role, and being and actually telling the stories of history, and not just letting, or not, I won't say letting, but not just the men controlling history, but making her story and making sure that we keep telling our stories and make sure that they're in the forefront, because women can make history too, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, I like to add, and then I'm gonna get out of the way. The conversation has been inspiring, and I appreciate being able to be in a space with women. Uh, Divine Feminine has been really inspiring, and I'm looking forward to continue our work together as a male in the space. I do want to add, Paulette, myself, and Aguila were in Albuquerque, New Mexico, early February with the indigenous, I think, Navajo Nation. And part of what I brought back from that experience was this idea that the male principal and female principal prior to the current era were valued, and uh, and now, of course, we're in a place of imbalance. But we do have an opportunity now to restore some balance to those principles that often uh, manifest themselves in the male, female, men, woman framework. But those principles are beyond the physical. And so the more we can embrace the idea that those principles are universal, and we just have an opportunity in this moment of collapse to restore some balance to to those two principles that when working together and working together well creates the kind of world that we're all looking to be involved in. So thank all of y'all on the call. Appreciate you.
Thank you for speaking to us so well, appreciate you. And last but not least, I'm passing it to you, Carla. Anything you want
And
to add, brother?
Dalum, you are a boss facilitator. Impressive.
Ditto.
And if you want to see more, come back next week. I'll be hosting another community conversation. That's my plug.
Hey, I'll be there.
Thank you.
Hey,
All
don't
right.
forget, donate.kepper.org.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna reiterate it at the end. Trust. We getting
All
that
right.
money.
Hey, we need the help. We need the money. College gonna take us home, man?
Mm. Good night.
He
Hey,
said good
Colin.
night.
Colin, could you do me a favor, man? Colin,
Yes. Yes.
shout your mother out a little bit.
My mom is an entrepreneur. She loves to help out, but sometimes she can get a little grouchy, but that's okay. That's just mom.
Hey, Colin, but it was your
Yeah.
mother that said you need to be careful.
Yes, indeed it was.
And we thank Sharita every day for bringing this young one here so we can pester him and love on him all the time. All right, y'all, let's wrap up. It's 8:01. I want to say thank you to everyone who came and shared today. I loved hearing your history and stories. Thank you to the Indianapolis Recorder for creating this space and let us host on this platform. And please, if you like the work we do, donate.kepra.org.
Do it today. Do it right now.
Do it today. Do it right now while we're watching. More than once. Run it back multiple times. For all the women. Thank you. But that's all for tonight, folks. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, y'all. Thank
Have a
you,
good
everybody.
night.